Morning, all. Well, I just got back from the doctor, so I have plenty of time to get out my little morning edition. Also got the Strombecker video up, assuming it released on schedule. And I'm sitting here with the two goats in the background and the cat giving me a judgmental eye. Before I forget, big mistake I made a couple of mornings ago, or yesterday morning. The paint a lot of guys are having success with, the hardware store paint, was Rustolrum, not Krylon. I did use Krylon on my Mercury, and it worked real well, but that's kind of an oddball plastic. So it's the Rustolrum. And a lot of YouTube channels out there with guys talking about the Rustolrum they used to paint cars, and they have specific ones. So, of course, I didn't make a mental note, but you can probably go to any of the car building channels and they'll show you. Also, reference my outro song yesterday. Yes, I have been putting on weight because I've been sedentary. I have to go get my FAA medical renewed, so just black coffee, black silk, and nothing in it, and that's all I'm going to have, doing the intermediate fasting until noon. And I'm sure you could not care less about my diet, so enough of that. Now, got back from the doc. Everything's going great with the hip. I got a return to work date in a month, so I'm going to have to crank out as much as I can in a month, because after that I'll be back to work, back in training, and things will slow down a lot. Now the channel's not going away. I still plan to do this in perpetuity, for as long as I can, whatever imperpetuity. I plan to do this for a long time. But I did want to point out that once I do go back to work, the rate of videos will slow down. There'll still be the morning stuff and the after hour stuff as time and workload permit. One thing I'm considering doing, and I know pilots have done this in the past, is maybe take some of my kits with me on the road. There's certain things they won't like you to. Obviously, you can't take a lot of rattled cans of paint or anything like that. All the liquid requirements, but you can still take some components with you, sand them down, get them fitted, maybe a little putty and that kind of stuff, get some of your grunt work done out on the road. And we all know plastic kit models don't travel well. There was actually a squadron shop article, pretty lengthy one, about how a guy toughens up his kits to survive going to shows. And of course, on top of the phenomenal work he did, he puts, like wire rods through them and injects them full of I guess it's foam or plastic or stuff to harden them. And they become a lot more, uses, metal spikes and landing gears. They become a lot more resilient. And he still makes them look better than any of mine do. So, anywho, after a few weeks from now, things might start to slow a little bit, because I'm going to have a lot of doctor's appointments, getting my medical renewed, and getting trying to stick to my diet and get some of this weight I put on while I've been sedentary during the beer bug and the hip recovery and everything. Get that off, and so I don't have any troubles with the feds about that. And then of course the retraining on the plane, and then my work schedule. But I'm going back to an atmosphere that's completely unlike the one I left. I actually went out just before all this beer bug stuff hit, so no one was wearing masks or anything. So now everyone has to at the airport, every place they go, even apparently everywhere. I think the only place, I could be wrong because I got to update myself on all the changes, but I think the only place pilots are allowed to take their mask off is in the cockpit. And even then they can wear them there if they want to, or that's my understanding. I got to get up to speed on that, so I'm definitely going back to an oddball environment. So anyway, that's life. You know what is it Conager said in the old Western with Sam Elliott? Take the pay, a ride for the brand. Of course, it was Sam Elliott, so it was more like, take the pay, a ride for the brand. Can't nobody do a Sam Elliott voice but Sam Elliott. Today, the weather's nice when I get out in the shed. I want to start working on the string bag, just make some advances on that rigging, and I want to start just cleaning up the Saturn V. I don't think the Saturn V is going to need a lot of cleanup. The part's pretty good. Just sanding down a few edges, and then go get that Rustolrum to prime it with, and then hit it, and then paint it. Now, you know what? It's very possible that a white primer will do fine. And then, once that's on there, then just mark off, let that harden for a day or two, just mark off the black, and then I can get on start using Steve Iverson's excellent decals. His most very excellent decals. Still working still got a half dozen videos in the pipeline on histories and stuff in various states of advancement, plus want to start cranking on some of the Aurora stories. And you guys all got me thinking yesterday when I was talking about Apollo when I was a kid and everything, and I imagine most of us are of a similar age bracket. We kind of remember a lot of that stuff. And somebody pointed out they remembered Mercury and Gemini. Now, I don't remember Mercury, but I do remember Gemini. I'd have been about the second grade, and the reason I remember Gemini was when I was in the second grade, Miss Lineberger's class, and she was like a 21-year-old brand new teacher, 21, 22 years old, right out of college. A really sweet lady, very, very pretty woman. And we had I think it was in the second grade class, we had a poster on the wall. NASA put out tons of promotional stuff. I mean, they were a government agency that understood the government agencies need support to get funding, and they put out just all kinds of stuff that was just gifted to schools. And we had this poster, and it had the Gemini missions listed when they were supposed to be going. And as a kid, I remember, and this is just the innocence of childhood, I remember look at it and go, my gosh, they got 4 months between each mission. Why does it take so long? Why aren't they going up every day or at least every week? I'm bored now, with absolutely no concept of the mission requirements, the amount of technology that was being made. A friend of mine, Ken, who's a couple of Kens, but anyway, he's a guy who got me hooked on RCs, and I'll never forgive him for that. But anyway, Ken was talking recently about some of the old computers like that and how the memory was done and how it was physical memory. I mean, he was talking about these, oh gosh, I need him, maybe I'll Zoom with him and he can talk about it, but it's like the RAM was like a metal loop about the size of the head of a pin with a pair of hair thin wires that went through it, and one that came up, and how they would change the pulse to make it off or on, and each one of these had to be done in this array and everything, how the computers he dealt with. And then I realized what he was talking about was actually more modern than what NASA had in the space program, and I'm just like, wow. Just the level of engineering. Somebody had to think all this up. There are some smart people out there. And 58. Miss Lineberger be in her 70s now, I guess. And real nice lady. I hope she's doing well. Anyway, I hope the reason I bring her up was I'm in the second grade, and boys being boys because boys don't change. I mean, we're friggin' 7 years old, and all the boys are, I get the first day of school, and of course, all the guys from first grade are all clustered around somewhere, the hallway in the school or something. We had outdoor hallways on our building, but anyway, because now we were in the second grade, we got to go in the new section of school, and all the guys go, hey, did you see our new teacher? Like, no, well, what about her? He goes, man, she's pretty, and we're 7 years old, and all the guys are talking about how pretty she is, and finally she comes outside, kind of like, I suppose, and if you need a mental image just to give you something to work with, think Sandy Duncan, when she, the short hair and everything. But anyway, oh, boys. And of course, we're also the same guys that were keeping Aurora, Revell, and Monogram in business. You know, you thought you were cool when you figured out how to put a playing card in the tire of your car or of your bicycle so as you went down the road, because making racket, that's a sign of true boyhood, man. Making lots of noise. You know, the same guys who did that were the same guys who put shotgun pipes on their cars and the headers just to make a lot of racket. And here's a hint for you: a hole in the muffler is not the same thing as a header. And I'm pretty sure most of y'all know what I mean by that. So, this is back in the days when you knew jets were flying overhead because the earth trembled. Oh, black smoke chugging out of those things. A little kid would lay on the grass looking, you see airliners going over, and you knew 727 because there were 3 trails behind the fuselage, DC-9 because there were 2, but you didn't know if it was a DC-8 or 707 when there were 4 contrails coming out. Innocent times, huh? And I'd always lay on the grass, see the airliners going overhead, and just wonder, who are they? Where are they going? Curiosity of youth, huh? See you guys tomorrow. See you guys tonight.